Hello there. This is Mr. Parks. Today, we are going to go over how to work through this example problem number 4. So the problem's written here, and we're going to solve that using square roots, factoring. We're going to try to complete the square, and we are going to use the quadratic formula and then graph. So if I saw a problem like this, in all honesty, the easiest, most efficient method, if it looks like this, would actually be by square roots. That's the easiest way. Now, the other methods will still get you the same result, will still get you the same solutions, assuming it factors, assuming completing the square is okay. But the easiest way, for example, problem number 4, is to solve using square roots. So let's start. First thing I would do in a problem like this is I would try to get the square by itself. So I would divide both sides by 2. And when you divide by 2, the 2's go away, and you get x plus 2 squared equals 16. Okay, from there, you would take the square root of both sides, and the square root and the square cancel, and you'll take the square root of this side. And remember, when you do the square root, you get plus and negative. So that's plus and negative square root of 16. And then the square root cancels out the square. You're left with an x plus 2. From there, I would minus 2 from both sides. And I get my final result. My final result says my solution, my x-intercept, is negative 2 plus or minus. And I forgot to change square root of 16. That's just 4. Square root of 16 is 4. So I get negative 2 plus 4. Which is 2. And then over here, I would do negative 2 minus 4. Which is negative 6. All right, so I solved by square roots, and I got 2 and negative 6. Let's go ahead and check our work by doing a graph. And what is it again? It is 2x plus 2 squared equals 32. So I would type in 2x. So this is what I had. I had 2x plus 2 squared equals 32. So if I want to solve this, I mean, I could plot this parabola in y equals, and then plot this horizontal line at 32 and see where the intersections are. But I think it's actually easier to just move everything to one side and look for x-intercepts. So if I move the 32 over, it becomes a negative 32. And then I could just look for x-intercepts. So typing that in, 2x plus 2 squared minus 32. 2x plus 2 squared minus 32. What are the solutions? They are negative 6 and 2. What did I get before? Negative 6 and 2. Look at that. Let me grab a little screenshot over here. If I click that point, it stays. Click that point, stays. Do a little screenshot. There we are. Ah, there, beautiful. Got my graph right there. Okay. All right, so far, square roots was easy. Graphing's easy if you have access to a graphing calculator or Desmos. Now let's try to factor. Now, when you're trying to factor this, and again, not everything factors, which is fine. So I would minus 2 from both sides. I mean, minus 32 from both sides. And then I need to take, this is going to be long. I need to take x plus 2 times x plus 2. Oh, I'll do it right there. So what I'm doing is I'm doing x times plus 2 times x plus 2. So I first do x times x, that's x squared. X times 2, that's 2x. 2 times x would be 2x. And 2 times 2 is 4. So putting that together, I got 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Minus 32 equals 0. I'm then going to distribute that 2 in. I'll use a text box. I think it'd be easier. So that's going to become 2x squared plus 8x plus 8 minus 32 equals 0. And then I get 2x squared plus 8x, and then 8 minus 32 is negative 24. I can't type today. Now I could try to solve by factoring. First thing I would do is I would take out that 2. That's the GCF. From there, I am looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 12 but add to 4. And this doesn't always factor, but this one does. It's 6 times negative 2. 6 times negative 2 are my magical 2 numbers. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 6 plus negative 2 is 4. So then I get 2, x plus 6, x minus 2 equals 0. The 2 is just going to take it, stretch it, doesn't change the solutions. But using the zero product property, I get x plus 6 equals 0. And I get x minus 2 equals 0. If you subtract 6 from both sides, you get x is negative 6. Look at that. I already got negative 6. I love getting the same answers. It means I didn't mess up. And then here I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get x is 2. All right, so I got the same answer by square roots, by factoring, by graphing. Now let's try to complete the square. And to complete the square, it honestly makes no sense to complete the square on this because it technically was already kind of completed the square. But I think we'll start off at this step. So copying that over, I get 2x squared plus 8x minus 24 equals 0. So remember, when you're completing the square, you move the negative 24 over. And then you factor out that 2. That's x squared plus 4x equals 24. And you're going to add the same thing to both sides. Running out of room here, running out of room. And what number do you put? You take this number, you divide it by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and you square it, so that's 4. So you're going to add 4 to both sides. Because you take this number, you divide by 2, and you square it. That's called completing the square. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Now, it's tempting to go ahead and put a 4 here, but this is really 2 times 4, so that's really 8. So putting that together, I'd get 2. And what multiplies to 4 and adds to 4? That's 2 and 2. So you get x plus 2 squared. And 24 plus 8, that's 32. Now you can see, all we did, it was kind of like going backwards. We just went back to what we started with. So this was already in the form to complete the square. So there's really no reason to do it again. After you do the work, I'll say see box 1. You still get the same result. I mean, because now you're going to go to this step, divide by 2, take the square root of both sides. I mean, all that's going to be the same. So you get 2 and negative 6. Really, that was a waste of time because it was already completed. And what we did is we FOILed it out and then completed it, which was the way it was to begin with. So that was kind of a waste of time. All right, finally, the quadratic formula. The formula is, you take your x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all inside the radical, divided by 2a. Don't know why I'm talking like that. I guess it sounded fun. Now I just sound weird. All right, so we have to have it set in this form. So again, we started off in this form, but there's no reason to do this again. So I'm going to copy down 2x squared plus 8x minus 24. Remember where that came from? That came when we started here, we distributed, we just multiplied by 2. So it's from this step. There's no point doing that all over again. So I'm just starting off at this step. And I'm going to recognize that this means a is 2, b is 8, and c is negative 24. And I'm going to plug into that formula. And it says to find my solutions, you take negative b, so that's going to be negative b, which is negative 8, plus or minus the square root. B b is 8, so that'd be 8 squared. Minus 4. What's a? A is 2. C is negative 24. Extend the radical all over 2a. What's a? A is 2. Now, I don't feel like messing with that, so if you go type this in the scientific calculator, it'll do it for you. And Desmos has a scientific calculator on there. Do not type it into Google because it will not spit out the right result unless it's scientific. Scientific means it does the order of operations appropriately. But I could type that in, 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times what? Negative 24? Yeah, I just don't feel like messing with that operation in my head. 256. Cool. So all that is 256. So now I get x equals negative 8 plus or minus square root 256. And I know I could take the square root of 256 because my answers are whole numbers. And then 2 times 4 is 8. So now I need to find the square root of 256. 16. 16 times 16 is 256. So now I get x equals negative 8 plus or minus 16 over 8. So to get my two solutions, I'm going to do negative 8 plus 16 divided by 8. And I'm going to do negative 8 minus 16. Divided by 8. Okay. Now, in this case, I know order of operations say to divide first, but because it's grouped together in the numerator, you should actually add. Negative 8 plus 16 is 8. So you get 8 divided by 8, and you get 1. And then negative 8 minus 16 is negative 24. And negative 24 divided by 8 is negative 3. And is that what I got before? Nope. I did not get 1 and negative 3. I'm close, really close. That means I messed up somewhere. All right, let's see. Where did I mess up? X equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by, oh, there it is. Where did that 4 come from? That's 2a. Oh, well, it won't be hard to fix. So this a was actually 2. So that should say 2. This should be a 2, which means this 2 times 2 is not 8. That should be a 4, which means that should be a 4. Which means that should be a 4, which will change this. Little mistake. Negative 8 plus 16 is 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Negative 8 minus 16 is negative 24. Negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. So I got 2 and negative 6 I got 2 and -6. I got 2 and -6 everywhere. Okay, so I hope you see in a problem like this, zooming out to kind of see the big picture, that there's many ways to get the same result. And the one that would be the most easy one, the easiest one, would be square roots. If you had a graphing calculator, I guess you could argue that the graphing one would be the easiest. So you have lots of tools in your toolbox. I hope you see how to do this, and I'll see you another day. Good luck. Bye-bye.